text with my parents and Lauren, he accidentally shared screenshots of a private conversation with Lauren. The messages painted a very clear picture of her true intentions. In one text, she blatantly stated her goal was to secure the bag and that my parents would eventually convince me to cave. She even joked about how she had always been good at getting people to see things her way. The messages were damning. I immediately forwarded the text to my parents, hoping they would finally see the truth. Their reaction was a mix of shock and denial. While they couldn't ignore the evidence, they still hesitated to confront Lauren directly. My dad muttered something about how weddings bring out the worst in people, as if that excused her behavior. My mom seemed more conflicted, but she still didn't fully side with me. The extended family, however, had a much stronger reaction. Once the text circulated, many of them began to rally behind me. Those who had previously been on the fence or believed Lauren's version of events quickly changed their tune. The shift was noticeable, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like I wasn't completely alone in this battle. Lauren, predictably, tried to backpedal. She issued what could only be described as a fake apology, filled with vague statements about misunderstandings and getting caught up in the stress of wedding planning. It was clear she wasn't sorry for what she'd done, only for getting caught. I refused to accept her apology, which only seemed to fuel her anger. With my lawyer's advice, I decided to take the final step, filing a restraining order against Lauren. It wasn't a decision I made lightly, but her harassment had crossed too many lines. The restraining order not only protected me legally but also sent a clear message that I wouldn't tolerate her behavior any longer. The fallout from the restraining order was immediate. Lauren's social media posts abruptly stopped, and Tyler seemed to pull back as well. The tension with my parents remained, but the silence from Lauren was a relief. For the first time in what felt like forever, I had some breathing room to start focusing on myself again. Update 4. Even after the restraining order, Lauren refused to back down. Through mutual friends and family grapevines, I kept hearing snippets of her complaints. She claimed I was ruining her life and tearing the family apart with my stubbornness. Her insistence on framing herself as the victim was exhausting. Every time I thought the situation might calm down, someone would forward me a screenshot of another outburst or passive-aggressive comment she made in a group chat. The breaking point came when Tyler called me directly for the first time in weeks. He issued an ultimatum: either I agree to share the inheritance, or he would cut me out of his life. He framed it as a choice between being part of the family or continuing to cause unnecessary drama. It was clear he was under pressure from Lauren, but hearing those words from my brother was still a gut punch. I confronted my parents about the entire situation, laying everything out, from Lauren's manipulations to Tyler's ultimatum. For the first time, I directly accused them of enabling Tyler and Lauren's entitlement. Instead of addressing the core issue, they dropped a bombshell of their own. They admitted they'd been struggling financially for a while. The bakery wasn't doing as well as it used to, and they were worried about retirement. They hinted that Tyler and Lauren had been helping them out here and there, which explained why they were so reluctant to stand up to them. It wasn't just favoritism, they were financially dependent on them. Hearing this shifted my perspective on why my parents had been so passive, but it didn't make their behavior any less hurtful. My cousin, who had been my strongest supporter throughout this ordeal, suggested it was time to go no contact with my immediate family, at least temporarily. She reminded me that I couldn't keep setting myself on fire to keep others warm, especially when they weren't willing to meet me halfway. After a lot of thought, I decided to step back entirely from family events. It wasn't an easy decision, but the constant tension was affecting every aspect of my life. I told my parents that I wouldn't be attending any gatherings for the foreseeable future and asked them not to contact me unless they were ready to address the situation